Welcome back to this week's podcast. We've got James, Darren, Andrew, and another ringer in this week, Mr. Dom, who's another one of our footballing friends. Since I found out you were coming on the podcast, Dom, I've kind of been inundated with questions I have to ask you because I didn't ask Coops last week. So
That was ominous.
the first question is, what were your favourite pair of football boots?
Yeah, I heard your discussion the other week about Puma Kings, and all. I had Puma Kings, but my favourite were Diodora. I used to have a pair of Diodora.
Oh, nice. What
Diodora.
colour?
They were black.
Oh, yeah. The way you play football, you had to wear black. There's no way you could.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talking
Black standard,
90s.
mate. That's all there was in them days, wasn't it?
Yeah. But it's funny because when I was a kid, when I was younger, I don't know why, but I always wanted a pair of Patrick's. I don't know why.
That's why
I always wanted Patrick's, but then it gravitated onto Diodora, and I finally got some after. I think I had Puma Kings first, and then Diodora. Yeah.
Okay, nice one. So Theodore's different as well. That's good.
Mhm.
So the second one was, what team do you support?
Lincoln City.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a second team as well, Forest, because when I was a kid, it's like that thing at school, isn't it? You all support the local team, but they've all got a big team. And like everyone's big team at school was Liverpool, because it was like era when they were winning everything. But mine was Forest, A, because they were quite localish, and B, because of the European Cup and all that. So yeah, but Lincoln's were number one team. Yeah.
Congratulations for not being a bandwagon like Daz. That's good.
No, to be fair, I accept that. But I would have, I think if I didn't support Liverpool and followed Liverpool, I think I would have gone with Forest because I used to go over quite a lot as a teenager and stuff. When if you didn't have any games, I used to go over and watch Forest a lot. So I can see where that one's come from.
I've got a Forest shirt. There you go.
Hey, Daz, what's the pen for?
Just writing,
Yeah,
just writing stuff down, mate. If that's all right.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I can actually write, but there you go.
It's not crayon.
It's not behind your ear.
No drawing, Dan.
Okay. Third one is the best stadium you've been to.
Probably Wembley.
New or old?
New.
And what game did you see?
Not playoff final. Johnson's Paint Trophy final. Lincoln Shrewsbury.
Oh, okay, yeah.
2020.
Did Lincoln win?
Yeah, 1-0. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Elliot Whitehouse scored the winner. Yeah, that's when Matt Reed assaulted Dean Henderson, who was the goalkeeper at Shrewsbury at the time. Yeah. Yeah. He elbowed him, didn't he?
He was a funny player. He was good shit, wasn't he?
Oh, I tell you what, he used to play for Mansfield, didn't he? And we'd drawn them in the FA Cup, and we was at home, and I went to the game, and we were leading like 2-1, and they brought Matt Reed on, thinking, he had a bit of a reputation. Oh, this fat bugger's coming on, and bugger me, he scored like an equaliser, like 5 minutes to go at the Stacey West End, which is where we were all stood, and he milked it big time, absolutely big time, milked this goal. It's like, God, he's just cost us because we would have played. Well, we wouldn't have known at the time, but when the draw came out later, we drew Liverpool, so we had to have a replay at Field Mill. And of course, we bloody lost. I went to that one as well, and we lost 2-1. But I always blame Matt Reed for costing us a game against Liverpool. And of course, in that summer, we bloody signed him, didn't we? I was like, no, not Matt Reed, please, not him, anyone but him. But after about 2 weeks, he was like, cool hero.
He's a hero. He's a hero.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely solid unit, though, wasn't he?
He was, but he was very intellectual as a striker. He'd never give the ball away. He could win everything in the air, and he was his little layoffs. He'd get the ball, lay it off here, lay it off. Not do anything fancy, just lay it off. And then he was just, and he'd also wind the opposition up constantly. And he was just the ultimate cool hero, really. Fantastic.
Was he better than Colin Alseed?
Yeah. He had his moments, Colin Alside, but Matt Reed was not many better than him, really. Not in the last few years. For what he did, what he contributed to the team and how he played, it's just fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. I agree with that. I used to think he was a cart horse, and then I watched him, and he had some right touches for a bit for a back big player. He had some proper.
I mean, look at his goal record before he joined us. He was terrible. He'd hardly scored any goals. And he was a bit like that for us, but then he had he scored 20 odd goals, did he, Daz, in one year?
Yeah.
Following year as well. Then he dropped off a bit as he went up the leagues, but what he contributed to that team was just phenomenal.
Was that under Cowley?
Yeah.
Was it?
Well, I think he signed under
Chris Moyes.
Moyes. Yeah, because he brought in Liam Hearn as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
But then Liam Hearn, because I thought that was a good signing because the two of them would link up well. But then we played Grimsby, and Liam Hearn made allegedly made some excuses how he couldn't play because he was against his former team. And then I was like, no, I don't want players playing for us who are pulling out against teams I used to play for. So I plotted his copybook. But yeah, it was Moyes who brought him in. Yeah, then he lost under Cowley, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The best live game you've ever seen?
Ooh, best live game.
That's a really good question, isn't it?
I remember years ago I saw Forest beat Aston Villa 6-0 at the City Ground. That was you're talking late 80s, early 90s. That was a really good game. That
was Tony Daly playing for Villa.
I can't remember, but I know it was one of them games. Every time Forest went forward, I thought they were going to score, and then the bloke I went with, he used to organise trips all the time for people wanting to go, and he was one of these who would get up 15 minutes to go and start heading for the exit.
I hate that.
And I was like, what are you doing? Go on, we've got to beat the traffic. But we're like winning 6-0 and we're going to score like 10. And it was like I was walking as slow as possible to get out. But yeah, 10 minutes to go, we were like walking down the street. I couldn't believe it.
I absolutely hate that. You go wherever you go all that way to watch your game, and then you miss the and it's the other ones as well that do me, that go for a piss. They're all up and down for pisses and things, and you're like,
you look at like Lincoln at about 10 minutes before half time, you can see them all walking out, refreshment or go. And the thing is, as they're walking out, they're not watching the game. They've got their heads down. They're zoned in on the burger vans or the bar, and the game's gone around them. They're not even taking a blind bit of notice. You think, what are you doing? Is you paid all that money to watch, and then you're clearing off 10 minutes before the end of the first half's finished. I just don't understand it.
I see that quite a lot from the stand I'm in. You see,
then
the funny thing is they're walking and then just stop. So then they block all the other people in front.
Yeah,
and that was quite annoying when we used to sit at the front, because I always used to take Josh. We'd sit on the halfway line, but I tried to take him to the front. When I went with you, Daz, as well, that time when I took you there.
And
the fact was is that, like you say, people just stand there instead of just waiting. But then obviously, the crowd's just they're a bit busy.
What's the best game you've seen, James?
Atmosphere-wise, it was absolutely mental. I went to watch Chelsea Inter Milan at Chelsea's ground when Etu scored that solo goal when he busted out, and the reason why I say that, it was mental because we're all chilling out in the Chelsea end, because my mate and his dad always used to get tickets, and what we used to do occasionally we'd go once a year, so we'd go for a weekend and we'd just pick random games, go watch the game, go out in London, and then come back home, and all of a sudden this eruption like to the left of us was crazy. It was basically half the Italian fans had managed to get in the Chelsea end. And when Etu scored that goal, and it was, and I'm pretty sure, I think it was when Jose Mourinho came back to Chelsea, when he was managing Milan at the time, and it was just, the atmosphere was just mental when they scored that goal. For like the Italian fans, obviously for Chelsea fans, they were a bit nervous, but that was quite good though. That was a good game to go to.
I also I don't know where Daz remember this, but do you remember Daz the Scunthorpe playoff games years ago when we won 5-3 at home and 1-0 at their place?
Yeah,
I was at both of them as well. They were fantastic, especially the away one. They won 1-0.
I've been to Scunthorpe once, and I'm not sure if it was that game.
Simon Yeo
and they kept us all at the back of that stadium for ages afterwards.
We always used to do that.
All right. So I've only been to one Lincoln Scunny game, but they just kept us there for ages at the back. And I think it might have been them playoffs, but
because we won the first leg 5-3.
Yeah,
and when it was just like end to end, and it could have ended up like 10-all. Every time a team went forward, like they were going to score, but then of course, because we scored 5, but then we got let 3 in. It's like, well, is a 2-goal lead going to be enough for the second leg? And that second leg, we won it 1-0, and Simon Yeo sort of scored a breakaway goal, and it was like the atmosphere in that way, and that night was fantastic.
The away end at Scunny is really good, isn't it?
If there's a lot of you in there,
Did you see Scunthorpe broke the record this weekend? for 8,500 in National League North.
Yeah, they did it.
Broke the
Really?
It's cheap
National
money.
League North record, didn't they, against
Yeah,
Chester?
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'll ask you the same question in a minute, Andrew, but just go off a tangent. Can you remember Ebbsfleet did a own your own football club thing years ago? And you had to pay like a subscription, and you basically became what necessarily was like a board member for paying a subscription, and you could pick
the team,
like the team, and pick the guy who did that. Basically, they ran out of money, of course they did, and the guy who did that left and went to New Zealand. You probably know this, Dom, do you?
Yeah, I remember the case. Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't he doing it again, or
He's
somebody
come back, and
Yeah.
apparently they're in talks with Scunthorpe.
Oh, he's Scunthorpe. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they're in
heard that the
talks with
other day.
Scunthorpe to do it. I think Scunthorpe released a statement yesterday saying we have been in talks with them, but not sure we're going to do it. It was one of those where they kind of put the feelers out. It must have been leaked somewhere on purpose just to see what the kind of reaction to it would be, and then gone, fuck, the reaction's really bad, so we can't do it.
You worry for a club like Scunny though, if that happens.
You do something like that. I do understand it from, because there will be something like that soon because of the amount. You think of what Wrexham have done. Wrexham have been built off the back of fame, famous people, stuff like that, and all the content that they get. And you think they got TikTok to sponsor them and Expedia and all that. Something like that will happen where a content creator or influencer or somebody will buy it, and they'll flood everything with content on that team. So I think that's
you just worry that Scunthorpe is not the most.
No, it's a bit. No, I get it.
It's a little bit out of the way. It's a little bit of a
it's probably the wrong
sort of town, and
it's been quite apathetic there as well, haven't they? Even when they've been doing well, they've struggled to get the crowds in.
Yeah. So, favorite live game, Andrew? Best live game you've seen?
Best live game recently is away at Forest in the FA Cup when we had that cup run. That was the game before we beat Liverpool. We were languishing towards the bottom of League One. Forest were in the Championship, and we got battered from pillar to post in the first half. And then we came out and we played like Brazil. It was the best I've ever seen, I think, an Oldham team just to sort of turn it around. It was unbelievable. And that
Jose
was
Baxter won it. Jose Baxter.
Yeah, Jose Baxter and Matt Smith. It was absolute carnage. And it was
There's about 2,500 Oldham fans, weren't there, behind that goal?
Yeah, and it was. Don't know. It was we've been going through it for years and years and years, and you only get those sort of little rays of light and the stuff, but that was just unbelievable.
I'll give a different one for a different reason. And Oldham got in the Premier League, and I'm sure it's the first year of the Premier League. They're in the Premier League, and we had friends who weren't really friends. I think there was links to them. They were Chelsea supporters, and Oldham were playing Chelsea at Chelsea. And my dad basically put me and Andrew in a car with them. There was three of them. There was a dad, a son who was my age, and their friend who was a Chelsea fan. And then me and Andrew, who were Oldham fans, went down to Chelsea to watch Chelsea v Oldham at their place. I must have been 10, 11, right? Like, I can't have been much older than that. Andrew's 15, 16, and we sat in the Chelsea end, and Oldham scored in about the 25th minute, and we kind of cheered but not cheered, didn't we? We were just kids, weren't we? Oldham fans in a way, and Oldham won 1-0 at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and all the way home, me being a 10-year-old, oh my God, Oldham beat Chelsea. Oh my God, Oldham are brilliant. Oh my God, how great are Oldham? Did you see that goal? Oldham were brilliant, being the 10-year-old. And we stopped off at services, and the guy's mate who'd come with him basically snapped at us and said, Oldham was shit. They will always be shit.
They absolutely went.
I was 10.
We stopped
10 years old.
We stopped halfway. Halfway at the services or something, and they got hot chocolates. I remember getting hot chocolate wherever the services, and we were just me and Chris were absolutely high on life.
Was it?
And
Yeah.
this bloke, he must have been holding it in all the way home, and he went fucking mad at us. Like, and we were just
The
fucking, we
shit.
just sat in the
Always the
services like this.
shit. That was like 10 years old.
He was absolutely,
Sorry.
he went absolutely off it.
So if you're watching the podcast, look how good Oldham are and look how good Chelsea are now. Who had the last laugh? Daz, what about yours?
Got to be Istanbul.
Oh, okay.
Got to be Istanbul. Got to be
Oh my
Istanbul.
God. Remember when Liverpool won that game? It was amazing. Gang, you'll never walk alone. It was
Got the European
incredible.
Cup tattooed on my arse.
Yeah,
I've got it on my back. I've got it on my back actually, but there you go.
And Rafa Benitez, he brought Smeetser on. What a game it was. Incredible it was.
No, he didn't actually. He put Gerrard at right back.
Sorry. There you go.
Hey, I've met Rafa Benitez, one of the nicest men you could wish to meet. He is.
Really?
Yeah. It was. I was reporting on. It was Barnsley against Newcastle a few years back when Newcastle were in the Championship, and it's funny at Barnsley because they've got a porter cabin behind one of the stands where all the press sit. Basically, that is the media centre. And you're always wary at Barnsley because you don't know whether both managers are going to come back to the media centre. Because I work for PA, when I do matches, I need quotes off both managers. So you're waiting, pondering like, I know the Barnsley manager will come back because you'll get told to. What's the other manager going to do? And it's like you're hanging around, nervous as anything because you don't know where the other manager's going to be. And what this one particular time, Newcastle were playing. And of course, you're waiting. There's no sign of Benitez, and I think someone said, "Oh, I think he's down the tunnel." All right, better go down the tunnel because he's not going to, show himself in his old porter cabin. So I went down the tunnel. It was right at the bottom of this tunnel, and there was a gaggle of us all stood around him, and he made a point. He made a point of speaking to everyone, introducing himself, shaking you by the hand, and saying, I'm Rafa, how you doing? All right, and I was just, well, what a real nice bloke. He didn't have to do that. I think they won 1-0 or something like that. It wasn't a great game, but I think they won. But just the fact he took the time just to shake everybody's hand and say, "How are you doing? All right," and introduce himself. And where other managers barely look at you. Yeah. Some of them are better than others, but he was like, "Yeah, what a genuine." Seemed really genuine that night. So that's
that's a good story. So that leads us in. So tell us about what you do as a job then.
I work for the Press Association, but it's mainly office based, but we put together pages for newspapers. I've done it for many years now. I've been there 25 years, worked on various papers like, Telegraph, The Mirror, Mail on Sunday, Sunday Post, Daily Star, all sorts. Just putting together football pages mainly. Sometimes it's going to be all sport racing and stuff, but it's mainly football. And I also get the opportunity to report on matches. Because I work Saturdays in the office, we do the Football League paper, non-league paper, rugby paper, Mail on Sunday, Star, other papers. It's quite busy on a Saturday, so I don't get a chance to go to the games, but if it's a midweek one, I can go. And I've done this for quite a while now over the years, reporting on matches. That's sort of something extra I can do to my job, but it's mainly office-based. It's sub-editing, organising pages and stuff like that for a lot of the nationals, but there's a lot of writing involved as well, but it's the match reports which get you out and about. And yeah, I've been to quite a few matches over the years and met a few of the managers, and some better than others. Yeah, but Rafa was certainly one of the nicest, definitely.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Leads you on to who's the worst.
I remember when Forest, when they had Billy Davis. I think this was the second spell.
The Scottish guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Preston.
That's right.
Preston, yeah. If he was like Manchester Scotland as well, I think, didn't he? Motherwell's manager there. And he went really weird because everywhere he went, he seemed to have this henchman with him. And he couldn't ask him anything. I remember sat in the media centre after a game on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and he was sat there looking stony faced, and he's basically henchman stood next to him, and it's like it was just the way they were looking at you all with like suspicion, like you're all up to no good, and basically he had to okay every question before Billy would answer it, and it's really weird. You know, and he's quite revered though, Billy, at Forest even now. But back then, if he was in the media, you felt like his enemy. It was a really weird vibe he gave out, but this henchman he had all alongside him all the time. It was really like he was really suspicious of you all, and yeah, he didn't come across as a particularly nice chap that night. No, but I mean, on the whole, because you're only with him for a few minutes, they tend to be all right. Yeah, there was who's the used to be the Luton boss, Nathan Jones, Charlton. He was a bit manic after they'd come to Lincoln, but I think he's like that anyway.
Yeah, they said he's a bit. They reckon he's a bit mad, don't they?
Yeah, he was like, you sort of asked him something, and he's like, as if he'd not taken offence, but he like gave like a spiky answers. If I don't like that question, well, I'll answer anyway. But I think he's like that over everybody. But,
Just in general, that.
Yeah.
So it kind of leads me into we're going to have to talk about Liverpool, unfortunately, because it's
No.
just really quickly, but
Poor Andy will fall asleep after this.
just
It's been a long day.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about.
No, it's okay, but it leads me into the Trent conversation, okay? And I kind of want to look at it from a different angle, okay? Because this is how I think about it. Now, Dom, you probably will be able to shed a bit of light on whether I'm right or wrong. But for me, there's zero surprise that it's come out when it came out.
Yeah.
Because obviously they've not got they're away with England, aren't they? They've not got a home game. They've not got a home. They're not in the FA Cup, are they? Up the Plymouth Argyle, and they are, and they. So obviously, what they do is they drip feed the news out, and so that they test the reaction again, and obviously the heat. By the time Trent walks out at Anfield, the heat will have died on the story a little bit compared to what it would have been if it was. I saw things even yesterday of somebody had replaced Trent at the the corner that he took against Barcelona, where he took the quick corner. Somebody replaced Trent with Andy Robertson, and they were saying how amazing was it that Andy Robertson had taken this corner. Like, there's probably a natural reaction to it, and I think that they've drip fed this information out. Somebody's leaked it, and it wouldn't be surprised if it was Liverpool or Trent
I don't
or
think
whoever.
it was Liverpool, because this is what happened with. This is what happened with. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No.
Can't see you.
Not when you press hang up on the button, I can't hear you.
Yeah, press the red button, mate.
But Dom, so is that a normal thing, do you think? Do they send stuff out? Do they leak it to test reaction of fans?
Yeah, I think a lot of time it's agents, isn't it? Agents will have a lot of contacts at newspapers, and they'll leak these stories about, especially if they're trying to get their player removed and stuff. Are you talking about Trent maybe going to Real Madrid?
Yeah, it was leaked, wasn't it, on Monday? I think that.
Yeah, most of the time it's agents, isn't it? Trying to, I mean,
the timing's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, there will be some people who have, friends in the club who, probably can't keep their mouth shut and telling their mates this, that, and the other. Someone might have overheard, but a lot of the time it seems to generate through agents, not these rumours. And I don't know about this one, but possibly. But
I'll tell you what's interesting. Sorry, just quick. I was watching Sky Sports News before I came on.
We're them on TV at the moment, by the way. Carry on. Sky Sports News, it's horrendous now, isn't it?
Yeah. So anyway, they were saying, and I didn't know this, that apparently now there's this special window that you can open for 10 days to sign a player in. Is it June or something? And now apparently Real Madrid are pushing to sign or to get everything done and dusted for Trent to basically play in their Club Cup thing.
Club World Cup.
Okay.
Yeah. So apparently they're trying to push because they want him available to play for that. So then all of a sudden, then you've got one of the main transfer guys who was talking. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but they were saying about there's like these two special windows where players can be signed within these things, which I didn't even know about at all until obviously I heard it earlier on Sky Sports News, which was nuts. But
it's like a pre-contract agreement, isn't it?
Yeah, but I can imagine they can do that.
Go on.
No, I know they can do that, but this new window that they're saying about, apparently there's this 10-day window with certain clubs that can do it. So basically Chelsea can do it, Madrid can do it, And they rattled off other couple of teams that apparently have this thing. I don't know whether it's a FIFA thing or not. I don't know. It's really odd how he was talking about it.
Why is it only certain clubs?
Well, that's it. They didn't elaborate. They didn't say obviously are multiple other clubs, but they didn't really go into great detail of like sort of saying any other clubs that we would know. Well, I know obviously we know all the other clubs, but it's just how they were talking about it, and I've never heard of it at all.
No, I think it's just telling. I think because it's come out now, when it's come out, I think for me it's a done deal, isn't it? And I think they've basically released the information now, so that the fan kind of backlash towards Trent, which you don't want it to destabilize a season because they've got a big 2 months now, really. And I know they're running away with the league and they've got loads of points ahead, but something like this can destabilize.
Not a given, is it?
You don't
It's
want
not a
to
given.
No, you don't want to destabilize it in any way. So they have not got a game for 2 weeks and they've released it. I
went off there, Chris, so I don't know what you've kind of said, but the problem we had it with Jurgen. It got leaked. It was going to get leaked. That's why Jurgen come out and announced it, because somebody internally is leaking whatever. You know what I mean? So that's what the general census is. It was going to get leaked out. So instead of it coming out via the press, whatever, that he was leaving, that's why he made his announcement. And I don't know 100%, but I think that's a similar scenario as what's happened with Trent.
No, I again, I may be wrong, but you start to read between the lines. Like you probably what people do. It's the same with the government. Are they exactly the same? If the government have got this sweeping thing that they're going to create or release, they kind of soft release it 2 weeks before it's going to happen, so that the initial reaction has gone by the time it actually comes out. I think this is a very similar situation. You don't want Trent. Well, you didn't want it coming out the Tuesday before the
next game, the Everton game.
The Everton game. You didn't want it coming out the Tuesday before the Everton game. So they do it when they're not. They've got 10 days between.
So it cools down.
The reaction cools. Yeah, everybody's kind of something else happens and they move on, because that's the way the world is at the moment. And that's normally. So I would suggest that this is now a done deal and it's a given it's going to happen.
I've just put that thing, by the way, sorry. Apparently, it said FIFA have decided to open a new transfer window from June 1st to June 10th next year, according to Marcifer. That's mainly done to encourage clubs to engage in transfers before the 2025 Club World Cup. There you go.
I think it also goes back to what either Andrew or James said the other week, reference to the rumours going around. It might have been yourself even, actually, Chris. The rumours going around that 2 out of the 3 had already signed. Because there's still why has it come out about Trent, but it's not come out about the other 2? So maybe, I don't know, you know what I mean? It might be that's the case. But
I know Van Dijk said the other week that he hadn't made his decision up, and he wasn't going to tell anybody until it was absolutely final. He says people can say whatever they like, but I haven't made. I know he said if I haven't made my mind up, I've not revealed what I'm going to do. And if someone says otherwise, they're basically lying, because I'm not saying anything until it's a done deal, sort of thing.
So that comes across like something's been put on the table, then, doesn't it? That to me sounds like something's been offered, but he's not going to make his mind up until he's ready.
Possibly.
I hope all 3 of them leave.
You hope all 3 leave?
Yeah, just so we've got something to talk about on the podcast.
Because clearly we don't talk about Liverpool enough, obviously.
No, we don't talk about Liverpool anyway.
Have you seen talking about the Club World Cup? Have you seen today there's like £1 billion prize money or something? It's ridiculous amounts of money being thrown at it, because they're saying that if Chelsea or Man City win the thing, they can win £100 million.
Wow!
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a sign of things to come, innit?
Yeah. I think it's dollars, $1 billion. I think it was all thrown at this competition. If you win it, it's like $100 million.
Is it held in America?
I think so.
Because it's like a pre-World Cup thing, isn't it?
I'm going to Google.
32 teams I was saying as well, so it's quite
fucking nuts, isn't it? Isn't it crazy? I saw Kane came out, didn't he, yesterday, and said about you're making us play too many games. and stuff like that, didn't he?
Oh, it's a load of rubbish, all that. Because as soon as the season finishes, they all clear off on a
Well, I was going to say, Villa played a friendly last week in Dubai.
Did they? Yeah, it's a load of rubbish.
Back in,
Yeah, but that's
in
what there was on
Dubai.
about. There was on about it with Man United earlier, and it was like they said because the players are saying they play too much and all the rest of it. And when we was fit, we'd play every minute we could. But they play the season, but then they do pre-seasons and post-season tours now.
Yeah.
So like straight away they're
yeah.
flying off for 2 or 3 games after the season. Then they're doing a pre-season. They used to get 6 to 8 weeks off. They're lucky if they get 2 to 4 weeks.
It's not the players' fault, though, is it? Like just to kind of separate.
No, not at all.
It's not the players' fault.
Club's fault. They want the promotion in
money
in the Asian, in Asia and American countries and whatever.
Talk about the money. I'm not being funny. If someone's getting paid £100,000 a week, I'd be expecting them to do quite a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but again, my argument
to
that is like
for a yearly salary. And I work bloody hard, and for getting £100 and £100,000 for, I know obviously we're going to talk about kicking a ball of air, blah blah blah, but we all love football and it's all a business. But I'm not being funny. They're going about saying, "Oh, we don't have time to rest this and the other." They have it pretty cushy, don't you think?
I don't know. I will put out there though, just as a devil's advocate, because I know it's a really easy thing to say, but like the player doesn't decide what the club pays him.
No, I get that.
Like the club signs off on it. It's not like they're not held to ransom. Like
I would say partly. I would say it's mainly agents that probably cuff up. You know, money goes.
If a club's going to pay it, they're going to pay it. Like if Darren gets £1 million to do this podcast, I probably want £3 million to do it. As well,
yeah, but the problem for me, what you just said there, James, they're players and they're on £100,000 a week, so they're expected to do. But you still own I know they're athletes now. Don't get me wrong. Most professional footballers are athletes now, but your muscles still get tired. Your muscles still rip. You've still got to have recovery time.
Okay, right. So I get that. Okay, so bear in mind. So let's put it in from an aspect. So average Joes like us basically pay what, £50 a month for a gym membership, right? So we go every other day or whatever. I'm just saying, Chris. It's just I'm not But the thing is, right? So you do that, right? But you can rest. I'm not being funny. As a professional footballer, right? So you train. Obviously, you're in the gym. You're on the pitch. This, that, and the other. They have the facility for a lot of basically recovery sessions. You have the ice bath. You have everything there. Everything's there. It's not like we have to spend an extra bit of money. Like for example, when I did cryotherapy, so that was like I think it was about £90 for 3 sessions. Okay, so they've already got that there. So
I appreciate they've got the ultimate recovery stuff, and they've got the dietitians, and they work out what your body needs more than what my body needs, and all the rest of it. They've got everything there in the grasp to get what the optimum out of their body. But what I'm saying is that because they're at the optimum, their muscles are probably on the verge of tearing and pulling and more, because they're working them so hard all the time.
Well, don't you think there's an issue though if some players getting paid, say £300,000 a week, that they're complaining that they've had to play twice in a week?
Oh, absolutely. I would play 5 times out, 6 times out of the week. But what I'm saying 100% I get that. Yeah, definitely.
I'll tell you the greatest one I can remember. And this was the story when obviously everybody went anti-Rio to some element. Can you remember Rio Ferdinand coming out with that stupid comment around at Christmas saying, "Oh God, you're so lucky you get to sit down and have your Christmas dinner, but then I've got to go play football." Well, I'll tell you what, give me £90,000 a week. I'll sack the Christmas dinner off and I'll fucking kick the ball around.
I'll tell you what, don't give me £90,000 a week and I'd still be playing football.
You're getting too passionate.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's just that. Listen, it's just that thing.
Go without a Rio
Don't you start.
Anyway, going on about the players, it's not their fault. I blame Seth Johnson. You remember him years back when he was negotiating his move to Leeds United?
Yeah.
The chairman going, "Oh, you're going to offer you like £5,000 a week." He's going, "How much?" And the chairman's going, "God, we've undersold this. Right, we'll give you £40,000 a week instead then," or something like that. Yeah. He went, "How much?" And they said, "God, they're going to pay me that much." And he thought, "God, is that all they're going to pay me?" So the chairman went, "Oh, we'll give you £40,000 a week then." Yeah, I'll sign for that. Of course, then players have got bargaining power then, haven't they? Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to sign for
I
you.
tell you what, if I was on 300 grand a week, my hammy would be in bits, like
Your
4
hammy's
times a
already in
month.
bits, mate. It's rolling round in a ball somewhere.
My hammy would be so tight. My hammy is so tight every Monday of the month.
Yeah, but you're no different hammy. I was thinking of the one that was in bits in the ball.
Oh yeah, thanks, mate. If you want to have a look at our TikTok, you're more than welcome to have a look at our TikTok and just see Daz's.
All I'm going to say is a drop of water sounds absolutely brilliant when Dad hits the ground.
And follow us on TikTok if you'd like to follow us on TikTok. But no, yeah, it's just I just don't. It's just business, isn't it? I saw that the FA Cup was being paraded around Miami. Did you see that? Joe Cole and people went to Miami and took the FA Cup with them to show people. And the talk is now that there's going to be a third round game played in Miami next year. That's the next. They really want to break into America, don't they? That's the They
really want to do it when you get Donny away at Oldham in the third round of the FA Cup, played at the Hard Rock.
Would we go if it was Oldham Liverpool played at the Hard Rock? Would we go?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him.
Not you, James. You're an Arsenal fan. You can go.
Yeah,
You
you
can go to Arsenal, Man United, or whatever the third round tie will be, like it is every year.
I'd love to see him smash Oldham all over.
You've got to get past the fourth qualifying round first.
Here you go, Daz. Who was the last player to score the winner in an Oldham Liverpool game? There you go. That's a question.
Do you actually know this, Chris, or is this have you got it up?
Of course, I know this.
Oh, Frankie Bunch.
I can picture him and all. He's a bald-headed fella.
Nope.
Okay, so you can't picture him, Daz, clearly.
He's picturing me, you and Dom. That's basically. I understand why you got to that.
Hey, it's like bookends, Daz.
It's not.
Who was the?
It's not guess who.
Who was the bald-headed lad that you played up front for you then?
Andy Ritchie.
Andy Ritchie. That's who I was thinking of.
No.
That's a long time ago.
Reese
Wabara. Edo, back post.
Who?
Reese Wabara. We beat you 3-2.
Said it all, doesn't it? Reese Wabara. Know him well. Great player.
Matt Smith scored. And I think Lee Croft scored. I might be wrong. Or did Matt Smith get 2? Something like that. But Gerrard came on. Suarez played. Sterling did. Get
out of here! You want in the Premier League?
Sterling actually ended someone's career, didn't they?
Who?
Sterling ended someone's career with a tackle, wasn't it?
He ended his own career when he did a tackle, didn't he?
No, he ended his career when he went to Chelsea.
I played against Lee Hughes, by the way, Chris.
In prison FC.
Yeah, played against him at Randy when he got back up to prison. I gave him absolute aggro, and he banged one. Cause I just turned around to him and I said, "Oh God!" He turned around with giving it all the big one. Went, "Oh, you're shit!" And he just turned around and whacked one from just before the halfway line. Chipped off.
I was really bothered by you giving him shit.
The only person you can give shit to, because basically the other inmates you can't really do it because they're about 6 foot tall, 6 foot wide, and will smash your face in. So,
Oldham signed him when the day he was released. So it was I tried to do the same with Ched Evans, but that was.
The funny thing with Ramby, when we used to play Ramby Prison, they always used to get all the footballers that basically got banged up.
Yeah, Adam Johnson, would he play?
I don't know about I don't know if he'd have made it out on the pitch, El Nuncio.
Yeah. I played volleyball there, H&P Ramby.
Volleyball.
I used to be in Lincoln. I used to be in a Lincoln volleyball team. Yeah, and you had a little league, and one of the teams in it was Ramby, H&P Ramby. Yeah. So that was a bit strange because you used to go frog marching all the way through the prison, and there was this little sports hall right at the far end, little sports hall centre, and he used to lock you in, all these inmates. And he'd be like one prison guard, thinking, "God, if it all kicks off in here, we're dead." But they were fine. It was good as gold, really.
So when we played football, it was basically they had the full 11 on the pitch, and then very rarely do they have any and the guards playing. So they'd have a guard as a referee, and they'd have one on the bench, and they'd have about 6 units on the bench, and you just go running down the wing. So you'd always, if you were on that side where they were on the bench, you'd be like, yeah. And what they used to pretend to do is used to get up and pretend to kick you as you're running down with the ball, so you'd move out of the way it was horrible. It was horrible. Good set of lads, obviously played in the right manner, because I played cricket there as well against Mr. Great Britain, who got banged up for armed robbery.
Didn't they have Jason Statham in goal and stuff like that? Sounds like fucking Mean Machine.
It probably was Mean Machine. Yeah, it felt like Mean Machine when you
Beverly Allen in goal. Are you allowed to have a Beverly Allen reference on a football podcast? I'm not sure.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. So the fifth question, we'll get to the questions. The fifth question was, who was your favourite player growing up?
Or who is now? Just who is your favourite player?
Well, who was your favourite player?
Mine when I was younger was Glenn Cockrell.
Oh, right, yeah.
Lincoln midfield. Like Glenn Cockrell and Nigel Clough.
Southampton?
Yeah, he played for Southampton.
He did go to Southampton, yeah.
I used to excited then, Daz.
I am, because I used to like, because Glenn Cockrell, whenever he took the younger lads for football, when he took us, he was one of them that, we've all done it where it's next goal's the winner. He was never on a losing side. He was never ever on a losing side, and if you knew Glenn like you do, Dom, but if you knew him as a player, he was such a winner. He never lost, because they would keep going until whatever team he was on scored, and that was it. Right, that's it, lads. It was. If he was on his side, you knew you was all right. But yeah, great player.
I thought it was fantastic.
Whose was yours, Andrew?
Mine was, I had two.
It doesn't have to be growing up, it can be now, I suppose.
Now, no, when I was growing up, my two was Rick Holden and Andy Barlow. Because it's left hand side of Oldham when I was a kid.
Left footers.
Favorite player now? I ain't got one.
No,
I'm an older fan. I ain't got one. So my favorite player is Zander and Reed. They're my favorite players. There you go,
Sir Andy. Good answer.
Yeah,
there you
go. Daz, when you said favorite, he could be favorite player now. I thought I hate everyone. I don't know.
Yeah,
don't know anyone now who I like.
Yeah. I don't know. Mine. It's hard because
Allison,
I like
Van Dijk, Trent.
No, not even any. Not even any.
He runs all day. He does honestly. He runs all day.
I'm talking like my favorite player. My favorite player is, we mentioned him the other week, and it's got to be Gaza.
Yeah,
got to be Paul Gascoigne, mate. For me, I'd love to meet him as a one-to-one as a person. And that might lead on to another thing, because I think Dom's actually met him. I'm not sure. Dom will confirm that. I would like to meet him. For me, Steven Gerrard, Kenny Dalglish, close behind him, but I love Gaza to bits. He was my ultimate hero.
Who do you support?
Liverpool.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Funny enough.
You got a Gaza story then, Dom?
Yeah, Gaza. Yeah, it's a bit like one of these. What's the strangest place you can see a legendary footballer? We was at Alton Towers last year, and we were heading into. They've got three hotels: main hotel, Splash Landings, and CBeebies. We were heading into Splash Landings Hotel, which is like a bit like it's a bit like Benidorm sometimes, a bit not rough and ready, but it's like more noisy and stuff there than it is the others. And me and my lad, we're walking in. My wife and my daughter were behind us. As we're getting towards the entrance, you're looking around, and there's a bloke sat on a chair with a lady. He had like a shopping bag in his hand, and it's like, look, you think that's Gaza. It can't be Gaza. No, it's not Gaza. No. You try not to look, but trying to look at the same time. That is Gaza. God, he looks really old. It can't be Gaza. It's not outside Splash Landings Hotel at Old Towers, sure. As I walked through we carried on. I didn't stop and ask him. Carried on walking, and I whispered to my lad. I said, "Do you know what that is there?" I went, "Who?" That bloke sat out there. Did you see him? Well, yeah, sort of. Do you know who that is? No, that's Gaza. You know what my lad went? Who's that? Who's Gazza?
Oh.
What do you mean who's Gazza? He's like one of the legendary England footballers of all time. I'm sure that's him stood there. So as we walked in through the doors, I turned round, and by this time he'd got up and walked away from the hotel, and he'd been stopped by a chap and his wife. And as soon as he opened his mouth, yeah, that's Gazza, because he was starting his Geordie twang, didn't it? And obviously taking selfies with him. And as my wife got up to me, I says, she sort of went, "God, who's that chap there?" I said, "You know who that was, don't you? Gazza." I think Jenny knew who he was. He went, "Well, he looks really old." I said, "No, but how was Gazza sat? Paul Gascoigne was sat there. Couldn't believe it. Sat outside Splash Landings. He had like an old, it was like a Tesco shopping bag with him.
You have a fishing rod?
Fishing
rod,
rod, a bottle
isn't
of booze in there, but yeah, and it was just like,
4 tinnies.
How weird seems sat outside Splash Landings Hotel at Holland Towers. Yeah, it was definitely him because I say once he started talking, you could hear his Geordie accent. Obviously, someone was taking a selfie with him. But I thought, how weird is that?
It's funny though, isn't it? Because like when you think of Gazza, because I think Gazza was probably mine. Like, I could talk about Oldham players and blah 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 and whatever, but I think Gazza was.
I could talk about Liverpool players as well if you want.
Could do. Yeah. Nunes, he's my favourite player. But no, I think that it's just he wouldn't be as good if he was normal.
Absolutely, yeah. Look at Maradona. Maradona's the same. Anybody who's got that bit of something about him, that take that away, you take the talent away.
Yeah, it's like Best was the same, right? George Best was the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Stan Bowles is another one.
Stan Bowles, yeah. There's a book. I remember reading a book about. I think Andrew, you gave me it. Robin Friday. Have you ever heard of Robin Friday?
Yeah, that name rings.
I think the book's called like the best player that no one knew or something.
Yeah.
And apparently he was incredible, but he didn't get higher than Reading in what would be like League One or the Championship now. But because he was so flawed and he had so many I won't say demons as such, but issues.
Was he like the first one caught on camera where I think it's either scored a goal, and he did that.
Giving the V's up at the camera, yeah.
The camera, yeah. It was.
Just,
don't say genius have always
flawed genius.
That level of genius, you've got your flaws, haven't you?
Yeah, I think so. I've got a footballer story. Here we go. So, you remember Richard Butcher?
Yeah.
Rest in peace and all that. That he used to play for Lincoln City, didn't he?
Lincoln and Oldham, yeah.
Yeah. So he signed for Oldham in the summer, and he probably played, I don't know, first 10 games and was having a bit of a mare, really. And I don't necessarily think he was the greatest player anyway. He was big engine, wasn't he? Dead action. Yeah, dead action. But I think maybe it was a bit of a too big a club, I think, maybe, to go to Oldham from Lincoln, which is, you couldn't understand it. But so I went on a night out in Lincoln on a random Tuesday night, and I went to Revolution, and in Revolution, Richard Butcher was sat there with Alan Marriott, I think the
goalkeeper, yeah,
and another guy. So I'm being an Oldham fan. I was like, wow, an Oldham player in Revolution in Lincoln. I was like, that's weird on a Tuesday night. So he got up to go to the bar. So I followed him to the bar and I said, hey, yeah, but he'd been getting absolute dogs abuse from Oldham fans, really bad.
He got hammered. He got
hammered by the Oldham fans. So I went up to him and said, listen, can I buy you a drink? I said, I'm an Oldham fan. I said, I know you're getting a lot of crap at the moment. I said, and I'm really sorry for that. I really hope it works out, blah, 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 but I want to buy you a drink. Hopefully, don't leave too bad a taste. What are you doing back in Lincoln tonight? He said, I'm in talk to sign back with them. That's my agent there. My agent's been in talks with Lincoln for the day, really. We've been down here. He said, I think I'm signing on loan, but it's not a done deal yet. I was like, okay. I said, well, let me buy you a drink just to say sorry. And just that, if there's anything positive comes from being at Oldham, it's that one of the fans has bought you a drink. Do you know, that kind of thing? Like, I was just trying to be nice. And they said, oh, come join us. Come join us for a drink. I was like, okay. So I sat down with him and Alan Marriott and his agent, and we sat on a drink. And that turned into 2 or 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 drinks. They said, and they were like, oh, what are you doing now? And I was like, oh, nothing. Like, and he went, oh, we're off to strip club. Do you want to come with us to strip club? And the only strip club at the time was Cloud Nine. Do you remember Cloud Nine? I No,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, yeah.
That is not.
Everyone's going. Dad gets
Sorry,
his
I've not been in Cloud9 though.
Dad gets his platinum membership card out. But and I was like,
Hey, my kids
yeah, okay. I'll go to. So I went to a strip club with with with
Richard
yeah, they were proper. And to be fair, they looked after me. To be honest, like, yeah, they looked after me. And I met him again. Do you know? Weirdly, here's another thing, and it gives it sound really bad. I met him again in another strip club. Right.
It's not weird. There's a bit of a fucking pattern here, isn't there?
Yeah, I met him again in a strip club in Cornwall, and it was pre-season, and he was there with Notts County because I grew up playing with Paul Mayo, and Paul Mayo was at Notts County at the time, and so I was in a strip club in Cornwall. We were there for a week in Cornwall fishing. We were on a fishing holiday in Cornwall. And we went out to the strip club on like just a random night, and Notts County were playing pre-season friendlies down there, and they were on a team night out. So I spent the night with the Notts County team because I knew Paul Mayo. There you go. It's the only twice I've ever been in a strip club.
Yeah, whatever.
Swear down, nothing's crossed.
Yeah, facts. So yeah, so that's my famous footballer story. And I met Dion Dublin on holiday. There you go. Me and Big Dubs.
Oh yeah, no, I remember you sending the picture into the group.
Big Dubs. Yeah, we look alike. To be fair, yeah. Somebody kept.
I met. Bloody hell! It was probably my size, maybe even a little bit bigger, believe it or not. And he was on the beach and he was having a kick around with a couple of other lads, and he was pinging it up, catching it. His touch, everything about him, catching it on the side of his foot, flicking it up shoulders, doing it on his neck, all that sort of thing. And it was like, wow, it's like size of him, looking at the size of him and all the rest of it. That night, the same guy was doing the DJing in one of the pubs. And I went up to him and I was like, I saw you on the beach, playing a bit of football. He says, oh, yeah, I used to play for Watford. It was Nigel Callaghan. Wow. But he got bombed out, didn't he? Because he was never, his music was his first passion over football, and he used to get bombed from clubs because he was always in nightclubs, but he was never drinking or anything like that. He just loved music, and he ended up getting bombed.
He played for Aston Villa, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Villa, Watford, Millwall. And I don't know if there's anyone else or not, but yeah, them three definitely.
Yeah, because when Netherland opened their floodlights years ago, they played Aston Villa.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
A little club like Netherland, they opened their floodlights. It was about.
You mentioned Tony Daly earlier, and he played as well, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, Graham Taylor was in charge, and he brought down the whole squad.
Yeah.
The whole squad. It was. I remember Ian Ormondroyd,
Danny Ambrose. Is it Ambrose? Danny Ambrose.
There's a villain in there.
Danny Ambrose. Who's Danny Ambrose?
Darren Ambrose.
No, it was way before him.
That was way before him.
David Platt was playing. David Platt, I think Tony Daly, Nigel Spink, he was playing in goal.
I played for GF Highcombe, and we were the first youth team to play under the floodlights at Netland when they got them. And I don't know if it was just before the Villa game or like the week after, but we were the first youth. It was the first youth game to be played at Mulsanne Park. and I played for GF.
Did you win?
No,
So,
no, Blue. I think it was like under. We were under 12s or so. I think we were about under 12s or something. And we played on the full pitch. It was massive.
yeah.
Yeah.
The funny
Nowadays,
thing about
it's
this,
got to be
though,
3/4 nowadays, isn't it? 3/4
Yeah.
pitch.
the funny thing about this, Villa and Taylor, they brought the whole squad down. After about an hour, the floodlights failed.
Yeah, they did.
That
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah.
That was it. They couldn't get them back working again. So then they just hung around the changing room signing autographs, and so they conked out for about an hour, so they didn't even get the whole game. But they brought the
Imagine
whole
that
team down.
now.
And the thing is, as well, I think it was like a Wednesday night, and on the Saturday they were playing Liverpool. And they had the whole squad playing. They all started. It was crazy. You never see that now.
Imagine that now.
I know.
So you feel like this players going down, wouldn't it? Now they would never ever entertain first teamers there.
No way. No.
I think Netlem at the moment they have a friendly, don't they, with Chesterfield under 21s or something. I think they have
20s or
friendly every
21s,
year.
yeah.
Mhm.
They beat them, didn't
Yeah.
they, in the pre-season just gone?
But then,
Netlem won in the pre-season just gone.
yeah, we watched the one the year before and Chesterfield.
Oh
were
my
really good.
God, I remember the one year before because that's when I did the training session when and it absolutely slung it down prior, absolutely
Yeah,
drenched.
that's right. Yeah, we stayed
Horrible.
behind, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just, and that's the problem with football. This is what we were saying. This is kind of what we were saying. The disconnect now between fans and players. These players aren't, when I think when I was a kid and as I was growing up a little bit, you still saw them as people, I suppose, which is weird. Gaza, I think he was relatable. People, you saw him as a person. He had flaws. He had, that kind of just you had a connection to the guy. There's no one like that nowadays. There's just nothing. You think of all the kids now, like who they're never going to get to meet a footballer. Like really, even Lincoln City players, I'd say, were probably off limits now. Like, and I know you meet them as they walk into the ground. I get that, and I get but it's kind of you're just not going to have that. You'd have to. They all live in gated communities. They all live in those kind of things. There's not a lot of incorporation into society really. You'd have to pay to go to a charity function to see someone, or you'd have to, and that's the problem with football nowadays. For me, it's the kind of who we talked about it last week with Coop's kids. You can't who's your hero? Like who if you were 11, 12 now, who would be your hero? Can Declan Rice? Like, do you know, like
No, like I was saying, Josh obviously likes Saka, he likes Declan Rice, then the random one's Trossard.
yeah, but the Arsenal players, and I get that, but just as
He likes House. He likes House from Lincoln.
yeah, because he goes to watch him.
Yeah.
You just don't
Dom,
feel like
Dom, did you say you had a lad?
Yeah,
How old is he?
16.
Is he into football?
Not really.
No, so you can't really say he's got a favourite player then.
I've taken him to the odd game, but I thought he's been this season. But he's not really into football. No.
So-
We just like going when we do go, though.
So, Dom, with your job, then tell me. I don't know. You might not be able to say it, but is there a story that you never got to tell that you wish you were able to tell? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Story I never got to tell. I want to tell.
As in, make public that you wish you would been able to make public.
I don't know, really.
I'm not looking for an exclusive. Just
No,
kind of
I don't think so.
You've got a couple of stories you could tell though, eh, Dom?
I remember years ago. This is way before I started working as a journalist. I used to live in a certain town in Lincolnshire, and we had a football team playing Saturday, Sunday, and all that. And I think I was away at university at the time, and I came back for the weekend. And I decided to make up a match report of my old team. So I made it all up, made it a bit saucy, but a bit of fights going on, all that. Sent it to the local paper, and they printed it.
You did get banned for 3 months and a 50
they didn't know it was
fine,
me.
did you?
No, they didn't know it was me. didn't know it was me. So one of my mates suspected it was. He said, "Oh, I think you've done this, but I'm not sure." I thought, well, it's not. It's not going to be anybody else, is it? Because it's obviously it's going to be me. But no, I've never been suspected until this day. But yeah, and the week after, they had to print an apology saying, "Oh, we printed this in error," because I think some of the team had complained that this game didn't actually take place.
What town, by the way,
the
Dom?
village?
I'm not telling you what town.
Who was the wait? The town. It's got to be Horncastle, hasn't it?
No, it's not Horncastle.
Oh, Horncastle or Raisin.
Yeah, all right, Market Raisin. Yeah.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
Many years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what position did you play, Dom?
Left back.
Left back. You're not
Right-footed
left, are you?
Right-footed left back, like Nico Williams. Right-footed left back. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you were just like Nico Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah. And what kind of level did you get to? Was it just?
I was only. I played for as a kid. I played for Market Raisin, but then as I got a bit older, as I did like cricket as well, I gravitated towards Middle Raisin. So we played West Lindsey League on a Saturday, and Sunday was good because we played in the Lincoln Sunday League. Back then they had like 9 divisions, so
Yeah.
we'd got a team. It was a team called Owenby Rovers, but a friend of mine at school, he helped run it, but he said he was struggling for players. So could I help out? So me and a bunch of mates all sort of joined their team, and then basically we took their team over, and then it became FC Middle. So we played out of we played out of the Market Raisin and Diaston for a while, but we mainly played at Middle Raisin, and we played in the Lincoln Sunday League, and we had a really good team because a friend of mine he was on the books of Crewe as a kid.
Wow.
And, he was a left back, but for us he played up front.
Yeah.
He scored like 25 goals or something in the season. And it's funny because when he used to travel out to Crewe every week and back, and West Brom wanted to sign him, and he didn't want to leave home, so he turned them down. And then, of course, any chance of a football career ended. But he played for us on a Sunday, and he was fantastic. He just stuck him up front, and he was so much better than everybody else.
So how old are you, John?
50, early 50s, 52.
Okay,
because so it have been. I packed in. I was about 27 because I used to work on Saturdays, and I'd had enough by the end, so I knocked on the head really early. But this team we had, another mate of mine, he was one of these midfielders who just covered every blade of grass. But when he went to university, he played for a non-league team in Devon. I think it was Holsworthy. So he played at a really good level. So we had a centre back, an old aged centre back who played at a really high level. So we were basically battering teams every week. We were this new team, but we were battering every team we came up against.
I can remember Middle Raisin. I can remember playing. I think I played against.
Yeah, this is FC Middle though. This was different.
Right.
This was separate to Middle Raisin. This is FC Middle because there was a cup. We had that, the big cup does where everyone played in it year in year out, and we'd drawn like a Division 5 team in the cup, and we beat them 7-2. Then the following game, I think it was a Division 3 team. I think it was Monks Road, and we beat them 3-0. This is crazy. We're beating teams like much higher division, thrashing them. And then we got drawn away at FC Roadcar. Do you remember them? FC Roadcar?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
And it was at their place. And they thought, we're going to get hammered here. But we was all on our own. After about half an hour or so, 0-0. And the left back who played up front, he smashed one in from about 30 yards. One of the best goals you've ever seen. And we were all celebrating wildly because he smashed into the top corner. And all of a sudden, there's the bloody one of their men running the line, flags offside. It's like, how can he be offside? He's got the ball, he's gone forward and he's hit it, and he's looked straight top corner, and he got disallowed. And it's like, how can you disallow that? He's done it all himself. Then it sort of demoralised us, but we only lost 2-0. So Division 8 team losing only 2-0 to a Premier League team showed what a good team we had.
So we went through a couple of leagues and stuff, and we came across Market Raisin for basically all the time that we were there, and they used to have, I'll never forget it, they used to have a guy in the middle of the park, not the biggest bloke in the world, a little bit older. He'd be probably Dom. He would probably be about your age now, or maybe a bit older.
Dean Richards, is it?
What?
Not Dean Richards.
Really good. Really
Steve
good.
Richards was really good.
But we nicknamed him Nick. He looked like Nick Cotton from EastEnders.
I know
wow.
who it is.
I think
I
it's
know who
Steve
it is.
Richards.
I tell you, if you look in your records at Netlham, he played for Netlham. I think his name's Brumpton, but his nickname was
Andy
Brummy.
Brumpton. Andy Brumpton.
I think it was Andy Brumpton. Yeah,
Yeah, Andy
Brummy.
Brumpton.
Yeah.
Good player.
Look
Oh,
like
hell of a
Nick
We
player.
Cotton,
we
Yeah.
nicknamed him Nick Cotton, and it just stuck for years.
He used
Like
to
Yellow
he used
Boots
to,
man.
he used to play for Netlham on a Saturday and Raisin on a Sunday.
Yeah, and then he moved to Raisin on a Sat. Raisin had a Saturday side for a while, for a long time, and they were a good side. Really played some really good football.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
Raisin used to be in the Lincolnshire League in the 80s.
yeah.
I used to regularly go down and watch him in the 80s. They had some really good players. Yeah, lad, you might know Dave. Daz. What's his name? He used to be on the books of Lincoln. Peter Sellers.
Name's not familiar.
Late 70s, I think he was on the books. He was like quite a stocky midfielder.
Wasn't he in Pink Panther?
Yeah. But going back to Andy Brumpton, though, he could have been a professional snooker player because he was a fantastic snooker player, but he didn't have like the right attitude because he'd always be down the snooker club or the social club, knocking into century breaks all the time. And they wanted him to turn pro, but he couldn't be bothered. But he was a great.
I think.
What kind of attitude did you need to be a snooker player? Just
put the effort in and put practice in.
Right, okay.
Turn pro and all this, and he couldn't be bothered with it. But he's one of these lads who was good at everything. He was good at playing cricket for us on a Sunday and a Saturday. Yeah.
I think he was a bit of a dull dosser anyway, wasn't he?
He looked like one.
Yeah, Andy. Yeah,
yeah.
He looked like
he was a nice lad, but good player. But
wasted talent, wasn't he?
I don't think he really had much go about him and going to work and doing stuff like that, did he?
Like if you're watching Nick Cotton, we're really sorry that he just questioned your attitude and the way you work.
Oh no, he was like I say, he played for Netlham. He was a good player.
Yeah, Andrew's frozen in a fantastic place. The joys of
he was a bit of a Chrissy
weirdly
type.
Weird. It was a good player. Played it well. I remember him playing in the middle of the park, and he was a good player. His legs had gone, but he was decent, and he wore Puma Kings. There you go.
There you go. You see, all the best players did, didn't they, Daz?
They did, mate. They did.
Yeah, I remember playing. We ran a team, me and Andrew, and we played a county cup game out at Brig. Who I can't remember. Was it against Grimsby Borough? No, am I wrong?
Brig. No, it was Grimsby Borough in the county cup quarter final.
Finals, yeah. We played out at Brig Town.
Who's this for?
Skelly.
For Skellingthorpe. We were in the Lincolnshire. Were we in the Lincolnshire League at that point? Were we in the?
No, that was the season before.
And we played away there, and obviously we were punching way above our weight in this, and it was. But we were a good team. We had a really good side, and I think it was like 1-1 after about 25 minutes gone, and they were slowly getting on top, but they got an injury. One of their lads a centre midfielder got an injury, and it was he was a good player. So we're kind of on the sideline going, yes, it's amazing he's coming off. And they brought this lad on, and he was a big lad. He had to be probably 16, 17 stone when he kind of ran onto the pitch. And we're thinking, this is brilliant. Fantastic this is. They had a corner as he's coming on. He comes on and he just hangs at the edge of he had just hung at the edge of the box, didn't he? And they had a corner, and they pinged this corner out to him, and he took a touch on his chest and volleyed it from about 25 yards. Didn't he? Did it go in? I can't remember. Did it go in or did it went in? And we were like, fuck's sake.
Don't judge your book by the cover.
Honestly, mate, it was an absolute rocket.
Yeah, he'd been released by Grimsby Town, and obviously just put on loads of weight, and he probably moved 5 yards left and 5 yards right the whole game, but like just controlled the whole game after that.
Dictated it all.
Yeah,
Oh.
we were letting flares off when it was running on the pitch, like because we thought we'd give us a chance, and he was absolutely different gravy, wasn't he?
Daz, do you remember St Hughes on a Sunday?
Yes, mate.
What
Played against them a few times.
Yeah, we drew them twice in cup competitions. Amazing. I scored against them one year, but the players they had, they had Dean Dye and Darren Dye.
Both the Dyes.
Yeah.
Sean Maloney,
Robinson from
Brendan McDade. God blimey, yeah.
Amazing, wasn't
Banksy, big Banksy, 6'7" at the centre half. Yeah.
Amazing.
What team was
they
this?
were.
It was called St Hughes, yeah. They had loads of like Lincoln United, Grantham Town players all playing for it.
Yeah.
I think they got paid to play, didn't they?
Some of them did because I can't think of his name now. Jez is I don't know. There was a building company anyway, and his dad he was like minted, like he lived up in the Vale, and he basically paid them.
Yeah, fantastic team they were.
Football's different now. I don't think there's not many divisions in that league anymore, is there?
3, I think.
Just 3. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You wonder where all the lads have gone, don't you?
Well, you look at the football pitches in Lincoln. I mean, the cow paddle's not used anymore.
Non-existent. Yeah.
West Common, that's not South Common rather. That's not used anymore as a pitch.
No.
They're all disappearing, aren't they?
So, is there less people playing football? You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too many gamers now, isn't there? Kids aren't interested. And
I
not only that,
I do think a lot of kids. I do think a lot of kids are playing 5-a-side now.
Yeah, but the other thing as well is like, you go out on a Saturday night, you get slaughtered. You'd still get up on a Sunday morning and go and play, whereas they won't do that anymore.
I was going to say, it's Saturday. You play Saturday. Go to the pub after on a Saturday, and then have an absolute sesh. Wake up Sunday morning, play again, and then you'd be out all day Sunday watching the football get hammered again.
Cost me a marriage.
A bit ropey Monday, but you're all right.
I thought it'd be personality because of your marriage, does.
Yeah, there is that one as well. No, that's that. I think it's a bit mixture. There's kids are getting into gaming now, soon do it with the thumbs rather than with the feet.
Agreed.
And they haven't got that enthusiasm, and also, like I say, they go out on a Saturday night, get slaughtered, and they just roll over and go back to sleep. Whereas I'd have been up puking, farting, and then getting on with it.
So moving on quickly. How good was walking football on Monday, by the way?
Yeah, it's good.
I thought it was better.
Yeah.
It was good. I enjoyed it. It was good.
Yeah.
It's that level, isn't it?
It's more of a level playing field because you're all walking, aren't you? But you look previously, if you've got someone like Mav up against some of the slower ones, it's just like one's right up here, one's down here. But it's with the walking, everyone's similar level, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a level playing field. Have you seen, just what we're talking about, like the amateur football? Have you seen the new rules for kids football that they brought in Lincolnshire?
The 3-a-side.
Have you seen that? So they're talking about under is it under 7s are 3-a-side now?
Not for a year or two yet.
Yeah, it's going to change a couple of years, isn't it? Because we now
right. So, but they've released it, haven't they? They've released what they're doing, right? Kind of. So under 7s now is 3-a-side, no goalies. Is it under 8s, 9s, 10s is 7?
No. Yeah, at some point. No. Under 8s and 9s is 5.
Right.
And then it goes from the 9s upwards, which still stays at 7. But we now, when we'll do an extra year, so we should really go 9s for 11s, but we'll do 11s at 7. And then at 12s, we'll go to 9.
So you get 3 years at 7-a-side, and I now will get 3 years at 9-a-side.
9 sides, yeah.
So we're talking under 11, under 12, under 13s will be playing 9-a-side.
Yeah.
Not so they won't hit 11-a-side until they're
14s.
under 14s.
Yeah.
the madness of it all, and obviously sort of having done it from the sevens now, under eights and everything, halfway through the under eights, and we've always said this as well, we have a conversation about it, they're already outgrowing that pitch, that small pitch. It's just so easy to just bang one. And the problem is doing that for another year at under nines, it's just going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I've been involved with the kids' football for quite a while, but I always go and watch Archie, my grandson. I go and watch him, and I just think I know you took the mickey earlier, Chris, about the size of the pitches. I think that's the only plus that they've done. Reduce the size of the pitches for the smaller kids, then they're like an intermediate pitch before they get onto full size pitch. I actually like that concept. What I don't like the concept is what you've just said about this three-a-side and then this seven. And I went to watch Archie the first time when he was playing, and he was in his own half, and it was their goal kick. And there was and I was like, get up, get up, get up. Like, and he was like looking at me, he's like, what are you on about, you weirdo? And it's like, get up, what are you doing back here? And one of the parents said to me, you have to stand in your own half.
Yeah, you have to retreat to the halfway line.
Why, yeah. And I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah, they have to retreat, so that gives them chance to play the ball out. And I'm like, and I get the concept of it, but I just think they're just tweaking too much of the rules.
That retreat works because because they made the pitches a bit smaller and stuff. Is that if you didn't retreat at seven-a-side or five-a-side, you're never getting.
No,
you're actually making it worse by what the coaches would probably do is have the guy that could kick it the furthest and kick it away from the
so you're going back
press.
to the long ball game,
Go back to the long ball to go from back to front a lot
like
quicker.
I say, yeah, I get the concept of it, but I'm not saying that's a bad rule, but what I'm saying is, in my perspective, I just think they're messing about with the rules too much.
But for me though, isn't it?
I would agree because I didn't enjoy the. So I understand the kick in and throw in. Now we've done it for a year. I wasn't overly, and the heading as well. I see the heading. The reality is that they've said, oh, you can't head the ball at this age. You tell me a kid that goes up for a header at the lower age groups, it doesn't happen. They think that they're content to go for it, but then they bottle it, which is fair enough, which I don't mind. But I was a strong believer of with the throw-ins. I thought it takes away that control element and touch. So when obviously you're bringing a ball down on your chest or you're trying to control a knees. I know I'm talking about under seven and under eights. Obviously, sometimes it can be possible, but sometimes I think if you've given that element of control, I think that it would make them better progressively further down the line. But now you have to be coaching now.
Everything that they're doing is based around making sure kids have a ball at their feet for as long as possible, but it's all about ball mastery. So the kick-ins is control and pass and control and pass,
and it's speed of the game as well. So the game,
the speed of the game, keep the game going. It messes with it. It messes with the fundamentals, and that's a thing. But it's done by, and it's rolled out nationwide, and it is just all about.
But what's the problem, right? And this is for me, right? This is kind of what's the problem with putting kids in a situation that isn't advantageous to them and then learning how to play through something that's disadvantage to them. So to getting them back from getting the opposition to the halfway line allows them to play out and it's all nice and stuff like that and it's great. But what about actually putting them in a situation where somebody is marking them and they have to take a ball with somebody who's marking them? What's the problem with teaching them how to problem solve rather than just this is what we were saying today about making robots.
I'm just going to say that you've just took the words out of my mouth. Yeah,
that's what we're doing, right? You get the ball from the goalkeeper, you take a touch, you take one touch forward, and then you either pass it down the line or you pass it in the middle. That's basically what you've taught them, Andrew, and it's the right thing to teach them for the situation they're in. But give it next year, like you're not teaching them to take a ball under pressure. You're not teaching them to move a ball under pressure. You're basically it just, and this is kind of, I think this is it's so like
Yeah,
It's
But the thing is,
symptomatic of the
you're
whole
right.
football
you're,
system.
you're teaching them control. So I think it's a case of now because they have the ball and they can move it a little bit. I still think that now, yeah, okay, I can see some elements of that. They're probably sort of teach them to control the ball to try and beat a player, which is that pressure moment, like thinking, so they can have that control. If they think they're that confidence of moving it, there's that. Because I mean, I spoke to a friend whose son has just left an academy, and I was ranting and raving about him because we get on really well with him and stuff. And he says, mate, he says they've been doing it for years in the academies, and it really does work. And I'm like, okay, fine, I can get it to some element, but that yeah, it's just that understanding now of how it's obviously it's different from when we played, and that's the thing
Yeah,
where you
but
can't forget that.
football isn't about getting it best case scenario, and there's and the problem that I see and this is maybe my issue really. I used to help Andrew coach, and I stopped because it didn't really suit me. Like,
Well, you played for a little bit as well, didn't you?
yeah, I can coach, and I think I have quite a good understanding of football, but I don't have the ability to kind of look at what like today's football and equate that to what mine was like and kind of marry the two. I don't have that kind of I suppose patience maybe for it. But I just we've just created this thing where it's like if there's any sort of adversity, we have to remove the adversity. You don't learn how to overcome the adversity. You
Mhm.
you we basically remove it so you don't face it.
But I think
But there will be a point where you face it, right?
yeah, but for me though, I think the adversity comes when they're a little bit older. We're still talking under six, under seven, under eight, under nine. They're still not 10 years old. I know we all played and we all played when we were seven and we played in under tens, but now like you
There's
kind of
Andrew,
teach
there's no
trying to
difference
teach.
in the kids.
The thing for me, what I've seen as well, I came to watch your team the other Sunday, Andy, and you didn't have a go at the referee, but you pulled the referee up and you basically said to him about the foul throws, right? And I know we're diversing off a little bit of what
Is
we
Mm.
were
that you,
saying
Chris?
about Brisbane, but you pulled him up about the foul throws, and you didn't want the fact like you get a foul throw, you retain the ball, and then you have the throw in. You didn't want that. All you wanted him to do was just say to him, "Look, keep your feet on the floor. This is
Hmm.
how you take a throw in." You didn't want the advantage of having the throw. You was just trying to say to the rep. But I see that. I see that even at Archie's level now. I see that, and the feet are off the floor, and nobody pulls it. But one of my mates, he's a granddad too, and he played at a good standard. And he put on a post on. He says we all encourage kids to play football, and rightly so. But one of his friends' granddaughter had played in goal. She come out and handballed it, and they sent her off. And she was, I think he said she was something like under nines, and the referee sent her off. I mean, what is that?
That's just daft.
That
Well,
is
it's
Too
daft.
right.
It's
If
daft,
you
and also what it'll
too
do.
right. If you cheat, you get sent off. That's how
No,
it
but
works. Right?
what it will
Just
do,
joking.
and in seriousness, is that what it will do is that girl will probably not play, and she'll probably. It's
No,
all about inclusion, and it's all about the problem is the ideas are right and the ideas are okay. It's just executed really poorly, and it's executed by you've got your refs, you've got your coaches, whatever. We've had we had a problem on Sunday. I ain't going into it, and it's executed really poorly, and and the ideas are okay, and implementing. I mean, the 3v3 I don't quite understand, but I know it's kind of called. I think they call it like foundation level or something, where it's like early years football. So everything is about play, fun, equal
I think
game
that's like an
time.
under six level, isn't it? The 3v3.
Yeah, equal game time, and people don't choose the positions, and they all play. They'll play, and then it starts to evolve. But it seems to like they've maybe gone back again and dialed it back even more to actually what it was. We've I think we play. We're on the 7v7 pitch at the moment, and we've outgrown it. We've outgrown it. The teams that we're playing against have outgrown it. The lad had a free kick on Sunday, and he slapped one against the crossbar, and he was near the halfway line. I mean, he proper. It was a proper ping as well, you outgrow it. So,
Well, it's like I was telling you with under-8s. Now we've outgrown the five-a-side pitch.
oh mate, you
Massive.
do. That's just. I mean, that is kind
You
of
know, and
quite
the
small.
crazy thing is, if we've outgrown that under-8s, but yeah, you're going to do it under-9s at 5. It's going to be
Mm.
crazy.
But then in 15 years' time, oh, England have got a distinct lack of goalkeepers. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's these problem areas. Everybody wanted to be. It's like England haven't got strikers, and that's because people grew up looking at Messi and Ronaldo, who weren't predominantly big strikers. Everyone wanted to be something else, and now there's no strikers. So
Nobody wanted to be a Gary Neville.
no, no.
I wanted to
You're
be
saying that
Roy
because you're a Scouser?
No, that's what Carragher said to Neville, wasn't it?
So Dom, just
I'm a Scouser.
so in your 25 years of obviously covering football from a journalist point of view, what would you say is the big differences from then to now? Like, you've obviously probably followed it a lot closer than we have. It's your
But I mean, there's more and more money in the game, isn't there? And it's, my dad used to say to me about, oh, it's all about the money, and it's losing like the human touch, like we touched on earlier, that it's all about the money, and players get mollycoddled all the time, and the moan if you have to play 2 or 3 games a week. I think, God, that's probably the biggest. And I suppose as well as the influx of foreign players into the country, which has a trickle down effect throughout the leagues, because now you're getting more and more foreigners in. Look at some of the teams in the Championship. They're awash with. Not that it's a bad thing. It's good these players are coming over, I suppose. But then it's, as with in the case before, there's less English players to choose from because there's all these foreign players in the Premier League. Because it's
But then, to rival that though, Tom, do you not think though? I think the crazy thing is, like, for example, say if you have an English player, 20 million quid, but you can get maybe a little bit better.
Oh yeah,
10 million, and we outprice our own players within the leagues, and it's just like there's no, it's all, nowadays transfer fees are ridiculous anyway.
Look at Jack Grealish. Grealish, 100 million quid, crazy. Yeah.
And basically now he's going to have to leave Man City to really start playing football properly.
Yeah. You look at someone like Murillo at Forest. What they're signing for? 12 million. One of the best defenders in the world now. And Milenkovic as well. I mean, Forest are another thing, because the players they brought in on little money. Callum Hudson-Odoi, another one, 5 million quid. He cost 5 million quid. Jack Grealish cost 100 million. Think how much impact each player's had for their team.
I rate Odoi. It's really good.
It should have been in England squad. Yeah. He should have been in there. Gibson White. I know he was eventually, but he should have been in there. Elliot Anderson, you could have made a claim for him as well. But Marcus Rashford starting, Jordan Henderson, it's just, don't get me started. It's just ridiculous.
No, we do want to get you started. That's what it's all about.
No. Here's a question for you then. I'll give you a question then. Tell me a player who is in the England under-21 team.
Elliot Anderson.
Who, sorry?
Elliot Anderson.
Okay. Other than a Forest player or a Liverpool, tell me a player in the England under-21 team. Because I know as
your best mate, Elliot,
teenager and stuff like that, and I knew who was the England under-21 team. But now I couldn't tell you who was coming through academies. I couldn't tell you who was coming through. There's a lad, isn't there, for Arsenal that I read about, who's supposed to be like unbelievable, who's like 15, 16, and he's just slowly getting into the like training with the first team. There's is it Ben Doak? Is it from Liverpool? Is it Middlesbrough?
He's Scottish.
It's Scottish, yeah, okay. But I'm talking coming through an academy. But you could probably go through.
Nwaneri, isn't he, on the 21s? Ethan Nwaneri, James?
I think Arsenal are probably the best for it, aren't they? Like
Skelly as well. He'll be under 21s, but he's gone through to the main team.
Who else is there? Like, you think of, does James Trafford from Man City?
He's in the full squad, isn't he?
Yeah, it was at Man City, wasn't it? He came from Man City Academy, but he's at Burnley now, isn't he?
Yeah.
But just it, I think that's the problem now. Like I wouldn't know who was kind of coming through. I mean, look at Kane. Kane's what, 34 this year?
Yeah.
I mean, he's an injury away, isn't he? An ankle injury away from probably not far off finishing. He's, you look at look at our back four, Kyle Walker, talking about John Stones being like John Stones haven't been fit for 2 years. Harry Maguire's getting on, Luke Shaw, he's getting on and he's a crock. So you look at Lewis Skelly, but who's, I just think there's just a distinct lack of youth coming through.
It's a bit like why, nothing against Dan Burn. He's doing all right, but you're suddenly calling up a player who's 32, who's never played for England before. Why is not a 22-year-old centre half?
Yeah, you would, right? You look at someone like Harwood Bellis. Harwood Bellis was the next big thing, wasn't he? And did he go to?
Is it Southampton now, isn't he?
He had a season at Burnley, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did.
In the Championship. Then he went to Southampton. But I mean, he's in the worst Premier League team of all time.
Yeah.
So you can't. Again, that's another player ruined. But you look.
There's so many players that have supposedly touted to be the next best thing that have gone there, but not really ever really gone. Can you remember Davis? Curtis Davis was touted supposed to be this absolute unit that was going to be amazing, and just didn't really do anything.
Who's that, James?
Was it Curtis Davis who was supposed to become like
Curtis Davis? Yeah, centre back.
Yeah. It was supposed to be they were supposed to be, he was going to be like the thing, and then just literally went.
But yeah, I think that I kind of went on that just because of the influx of foreigners. Again, it's not the worst thing for football because they're good players. But if you look at it from an English football point of view, let's be very xenophobic and Joey Barton for a minute. But if you look at it from an English kind of side point of view, there's no real. There's not a lot of pathway, is there? You look at Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is prime example, right? They sold him because they couldn't fit him in his team, in their team. Like, if they'd have held on for him for a year, it'd have been probably the first name on the team sheet, right? Like, it kind of, and it's sad, isn't it? Because English players now are not probably like when we were kids. It was all English players, and I don't think it should be like that. But I don't see the pathway for academy kids. They have to go to Lincoln, and they have to go to people like that to get a game.
Thing is, Chris, as well, you see all these squads now, even the likes of Brighton, for instance, it seems to be stockpiling players. And you look at all the players out on loan. Brighton have got something like 20 players out on loan. And you think 10, 15 years ago that a team sort of, 10th, 11th, sort of mid-table Premier League, farming that many players out on loan because they've got so many on their books. Obviously Chelsea do it all the time.
Well, I was going to say, look what you said the other week about Chelsea, about 90, was it 95
players?
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And they've got another 2 coming signed in.
Yeah. If you're a youth team player for Chelsea, what are you thinking? Like,
if you see all that coming in, you're going to be like, I've got to get through that.
Well, that's it. But then they end up at Watford, and they end up at like Charlton and other London teams that they go to. And really, there's probably so much wasted talent leaving the Premier League, going down.
There is, but I still. I mean, you look at that, like the Crystal Palace guys. There's 3 or 4 Crystal Palace players, isn't there? And they're the teams that they're playing for now, rather than your Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea's, or whatever. But there's 4 players in that Crystal Palace side that are in the England side, and they're all good players. They're all touted for these bigger clubs, but they had to go there to learn the trade, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, Ismoki, do you think there's a drop-off of English players, like quality players? Ismoki, look back at like when we were younger, and you'd see you'd see some English players like going abroad. You don't really see many Brits going abroad now to really be successful. Like you're obviously your Owens, your Hargreaves, and all that sort of stuff where they've gone and done all that. You've got Kane that's gone over to Bayern Munich. You've got Bellingham who's at Real Madrid. Conor Gallagher, who's at Atletico Madrid, but there isn't really anybody else that kind of, it kind of feels like this.
Tomorrow into Milan.
Well, yeah, but
you actually look at now, they're all kids from Man City going to places like Dortmund and stuff, aren't they?
Yeah.
You think of Sancho? There's a
oh well, yeah, I forgot about well, Sancho.
Is it Gillings? Is something like that? He's there. Gittins, is it? Gittins.
Yeah,
He's the next one, isn't he? He's kind of doing it there now, and it's yeah.
But what I'm going to say is, do you think it doesn't seem that there's that many Brits abroad compared to how it was before? Do you get me?
Yeah,
probably right. Who's the best Brit to play abroad? Let's say English rather than Brit.
You could
Hoddle.
Gaza.
Well, Gaza. I was going to say Gaza obviously had a stint.
Hoddle. You've got
Chris Waddle.
Chrissy Waddle went abroad, didn't he?
That went abroad, didn't he?
Platty.
Platty went abroad.
Yeah.
Ince
went abroad. Des Walker went abroad.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Quiz time for you. Quiz time.
Oh, here we go.
Lee Sharp play for abroad?
Lee Sharp,
yeah.
In Sweden?
Nope.
All right.
Italy?
Yeah.
Torino?
Nope.
Something tells me Lazio or something like that.
Nope.
No.
Sampdoria.
Hey?
Sampdoria.
Oh, wow.
Did he?
Yeah, played for Sampdoria. You're going to fact check me now, aren't you? There you go. I'm sure he did.
Yeah, Sampdoria played 3 games for him.
There you go. Told you.
Oh, who was the young lad? I tell you what, Lazio, Ravel Morrison.
Ravel Morrison.
Now, he was unreal and got ruined.
Wasted talent, wasn't he?
He ruined himself, though. He was egg case, though, wasn't he?
Ruined himself, yeah.
A bit.
Few players like that in the head cases that ruin themselves.
Who's successful abroad, though?
Going back to your
you probably look at your successful abroad. Sorry, you look at like Beckham and your Owens and something like that.
Yeah, it's got to be Beckham, hasn't it?
Kevin Keegan, he played abroad.
Who?
Kevin Keegan played in the European Cup final 1980.
Yeah, Hamburg.
Yeah.
Robbie Keane.
Steve McManaman.
Yeah, I forgot about McManaman.
Mark Hughes. Oh, they're not English.
But that's the thing. But you got that. But then now you've just like I've said before. So you've got Bellingham, Gallagher.
Well, the money's here though, James. That's the problem. Yeah. If you're not going to Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, or Barcelona, who are you going to?
Back then, like you say, you go to your Real Madrid's, Barcelona's, or they all come knocking. But back then, when it was all like you say, Sampdoria, it was all the Italian league. That's where all the money
AC Milan.
Yeah, that's where the money was then. Back then, Juventus, AC, Inter, Roma, Napoli.
Maradona.
Yeah.
Good old Roma. I had a Totti t-shirt. I had the one. Can you remember they had that t-shirt, then the white shirt with the brown dots on. So when you used to put it on with the thing, they used to go orange. They used to could you go with all your body heat and stuff. Back in the day, and to be fair, it was one of those really tight tops, which was amazing. But obviously, I would never be able to pull anything off like that again.
I thought you'd support Monaco because of Thierry Henry.
No,
I had a New York Red Bulls top as well because of Thierry Henry.
No,
that's what I thought you'd do.
Only Thierry top I've got was the Highbury, the maroon top. That's the only one I've got with Henry on it.
Minging.
No.
So do you have a favourite foreign team? Just a weird one.
Paphos FC.
Who?
Paphos FC.
Is it? Are they good? Yeah.
Paphos.
Because I've been to Paphos loads of times, I was just thinking, I'll have a look and see what Paphos FC are doing this week. Yeah.
I don't know really on a foreign team wise. I used to love watching.
I think for me, Juve, because when Ian Rush went there.
I think Juve was obviously the guy that used to do that thing on the Channel 4 guy, James. Was it James something?
O'Brien, was it Brian? No,
the bald guy used to do that. Is it got that guy? Like, oh my god!
Still does it, doesn't it? It still does.
I tell you what, you never forget that
TNT.
The intro to that was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
How many
James
Oldham
Bridges.
players went from Oldham to abroad then?
Paul,
Yeah, 0. There you go.
wait, no, wait. There
Why
was
do I feel like I'm going to come out with something and bang?
Oldham. I tell you what, here's one for you, right? This is a bit random. I remember us signing an Argentinian from Racing Central Club in the called Christian Caluso. And we went to watch him. He did the worst dive I've ever seen at home to Tranmere on like a horrible
Worse than
Tuesday night. Christian Caluso. And another one, and this is probably, we signed
Lorenko.
centre forward from Sporting Lisbon on loan called Lorenko. One word, one name, Lorenko.
Shit.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Hey, Chris,
No,
here's a
I
quiz
don't think he
question
was
for you then.
shit. He was maybe too lightweight, too small for.
Quiz questions for you and Andy and Chris. Who was the first foreign player to play for Oldham?
Oh, I've got a guess. I've got one. Craig Valentine.
No,
Oh, was he Canadian, wasn't he? Valentine?
no, it's not him though.
Oh, first, I don't know. First foreigner to play for Oldham.
Yeah.
You awake there, Andy, or you know?
I'm thinking.
I mean, it's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know any further back than foreign. The earliest foreigner I know is Gunner, and that's it.
That's not That's not back.
No, it's not. But I don't know.
No. Who was it then, Dom?
I think 1979.
Oh yeah, that's him.
Oh yeah, Andrew was 1 and I was -4.
I think Rizard Kowanicki. Remember him?
Oh yeah, big player he was. How many games did he play? Yeah, him. Who was Lincoln's best foreign player? Oh, that's a
Might
question.
be
Can you
Lewis
think of
Monster
any?
now, actually. Lewis
No,
Monster.
who's the right back? The Swedish or
There was
Scandinavian right
Monster,
back? Yes.
wasn't there?
Oh, the
Monster.
best foreign player to Lincoln is probably Eric Leaky.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
came on loan from Villa. He was fantastic.
What
He
about
played
Dean,
five
what about
games.
Dean Walling, who came from Trinidad and Tobago?
It was St Kitts, wasn't it?
St. Kitts. It was St. Kitts. Sorry, yeah.
He was quite
St.
good
Kitts.
centre half, wasn't he? No, I think Eric Leaky, he's American, wasn't he? I think he's normally regarded as the best foreign player ever to play for Lincoln. Yeah.
That's a bad
But
one,
Lewis
isn't it?
Monster, he's pretty decent as well.
He's a
Sorensen.
good player, yeah. He's just
Josh has gone back with Lewis.
We had Mancini's son, Andrea Mancini. Roberto Mancini. We had his son, and we had another lad called.
Shirt seller.
We had another one called. He wasn't very good. He was terrible, to be fair. We had two at the same time from Man City Academy, and what the other one was.
He's still playing. Is that a really good
Scarpuzzi, was it?
Scapuzza?
Scarpuzza, something like that. He was quite good. He was. Yeah, you don't get many. Mike Fondop.
What about is it Albert Rusnak? Who's he?
Albert Rusnak. He was another one. Yeah. Mike
Fondop.
Fondop. He's currently. Is he Cameroonian?
Yes, yeah.
Something like that.
I'm going to get you a Fandop t-shirt, Chris.
Who was that forward,
What is
Dom?
that,
Someone's job.
Fondop.
Oh, Gisbert Boss, you mean?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, he was all right. Dutch, yeah.
He wasn't a good player though.
He was shit.
Yeah, he was terrible.
He scored one of the best goals you've
Scored a
seen.
great
Yeah,
goal
because he was
against Man
7'8".
Yeah.
Scored a great goal
Funny
against
enough,
Man City.
Lincoln just booted the ball as far as they could onto his head, basically. His boss. Yeah.
Who you interviewed then, Dom? Who you got on your books? Who you've interviewed?
Oh, a lot of the managers like Benitez.
You got any decent stories against any of them?
Who's your top 5? Dom, who's your top 5 managers that you've interviewed then?
Top 5. What do you mean top 5? Top 5 is in what? Well known or?
Well known best.
Danny Cowley's probably one of them. Benitez. I know there was one, Paul Hart. Do you remember Paul Hart? He used to be at Forest.
Yeah, Forest, yeah.
He was good, yeah. But he had one of them one of them looks about him, which like he was scared of him. It's like,
Yeah, he looked
scary,
didn't he?
Yeah, Frank Lampard, he's not one. I've got a funny story about Lampard. When he was manager of Derby, it was a Monday. It was like a Tuesday night game. I can't remember who they were playing. But they were at home, and I've got my name down to report on it. And someone from the our sports desk at PA had emailed me to ask him a particular question, which is something they never do or never have since. A few days earlier, Chelsea had been in I think was it the League Cup final, the game where Kepa had done something. Had he walked off?
It didn't come. It won't come off, would he?
Yeah, he won't come off. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone
was that the penalty shootout?
Yeah,
no,
come off for it.
No, he was going to sub him, but he won't come off for
yeah, that's right. Yeah. And someone off the main desk asked me to ask Frank Lampard his thoughts about it. Thinking, all right, okay, yeah, I'll try and see what he says. Anyway, we're all sat in the media centre, all firing off questions at him, and there was a bit of a pause. Thought, right, I'll get in there, and I went, "Hi, Frank. I just wanted to get your reactions of Kepa about his antics on Saturday," and he just went, "Right, thank you very much. That'll do." He just walked off. He refused to answer. And he ended the conference and walked off. And I thought, oh my God.
Do you get battered then by the other journalists?
No, because the one sat next to me, he turned and said to me, he said, "I'm glad you asked that because I was going to ask that. I didn't dare ask him." So I had to contact work and say, "Oh, I did try," but he refused to answer and walked off. It was like, yeah, it wasn't my finest moment, but yeah, he just refused to answer. He didn't want to know. He just wouldn't have it. Didn't want to know.
What's been like? Have you ever? I'm sorry, this is just turning into you and work questions, so I apologise, but it is interesting. Have you like interviewed a manager that you know is about to get the sack? Like,
oh well, yeah, just recently, the Crawley manager, Rob Elliott. He played at Lincoln. They played Lincoln a few weeks ago, and they were in a terrible run of form. Fans were on his back, I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did. And the way he spoke to me, he was real nice, real pleasant, and he was really honest. He was really honest because he kept apologising to the fans and saying he wasn't good enough, and he was nearly like tearful afterwards. Yeah, and you think, I don't think you're going to last too much longer. I think about 2 weeks later was he sacked.
Yeah, Scott Lindsay's gone back in there, hasn't he?
He was just like, he sort of gave off the vibe, like, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to get this club out of the relegation zone. He was like, I'll keep trying, but you could see it coming.
Yeah. Is it awkward for you when you're having to do it? Because obviously you have to ask him questions, don't you?
Yeah.
You can't
sometimes. Sometimes it's because the worst is when, I suppose, when the team have come off, they've been hammered, and some of the managers, take defeat really badly.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm not necessarily first in the queue, so someone else has asked the questions, and more often than not, it's the chap before me who's asked the most pertinent question, so I don't have to. So a lot of the times I don't need to ask the really awkward question, but yeah, sometimes I take defeat badly. They see they're steaming when they're coming out, thinking, "Oh my God, I don't want to inflame him," because some react better than others. So like Steve Evans is quite an interesting character because he'll, if his team have won, it's the greatest performance ever. He's got the greatest players ever, and of course, if I've lost, it's completely different. And
Right from under the bus.
Well, yeah, they're trying not to. They're trying not to.
What's your approach, Dom? Because when you listen to interviews, and then the interviewers, it's like, what did that win mean to you?
Oh,
what did that win mean to the club? It's like,
it's the worst question ever.
I'm pleased you said that, but it's like, they're so predictable and obvious, and it's like, what does that mean to you? Well, it means to me, I've just got another $5,000 for a win bonus and another fucking $6,000 for me parents bonus. Actually winning, I'm not bothered, but apart from the $5,000. But players aren't going to say that, are they? You know what I mean?
It's a bit like someone's come off and just won the world championship, but the first question they get asked is, "How do you feel?" Well,
Yeah.
it's obvious because they've just won. They're like the number one player in the world. How do you don't
Yeah.
know how to feel? Because it's obvious.
I
What
follow
especially
I follow NFL quite closely, and they do before the Super Bowl, obviously, which is like the major final, the Super Bowl. They do what's called a media kind of day, where it's like a big hall and everybody's in there, and there's the Super Bowl attracts media from everywhere. It's not just normal NFL media there. There's all different people there. And so, there's people who get media passes who maybe aren't, they're podcasters like us or they're whatever. And I remember one guy basically, yeah, just like us, just exactly the same as us as well, just exactly the same. But there's one guy, he basically said, I'm going to ask like the stupidest question I could ask. And when it was his turn, so he's asking like you probably heard of Tom Brady or the star quarterback or the wide receiver or somebody like the star player. He's basically going up to him, putting the mic in the face and saying, "So is this a must-win game?" And it's like it's obviously a one-off game, isn't it? And they're all going, "Yeah, I'd say it's a must-win game." And then he'd go to the next one. Would you say this is a must-win game? And he'd be like, "Yeah, it's a must-win." And he just kind of made a mockery of like because he said, what you can't
Yeah.
ask any question that you don't know that you know the answer to it already, right? You just know it.
it's like funny you say that as well because you'll see at some games where I mean a lot of the time now you go in the press box and there's like you and maybe one or two other journalists. Everybody else in there is either from either the club taking down stats and stuff, or they're statisticians. Where they do it for the website with the bookies, where like oh they're in this half now they're not, now it's a corner now it's this now it's that.
Oh,
So
really?
actual journalists there's very few of you, but sometimes you'll stand in line for a certain manager, and the main like the radio always gets first dibs and stuff like this. Then I'll ask the manager a load of questions. Then some young lad will come from the local university or something, some little paper, and he'll ask exactly the same question which the radio reporter's just asked. And you think, why are you asking exactly the same question? Because you're not going to get a different answer. Just listen to what he's told him, and then think of a different question. But they don't. They repeat the same questions.
Yeah.
You think you're wasting your time because you know the answer because you've just listened to it. So think of different questions. Sometimes it's hard if you've got like I know they might come with like a list of questions and they've been asked, but I don't know what other questions to ask. I'll still ask them. But you think, well, you don't ask the same question; it's just being asked because ask him something different. That's a bit annoying, especially when you're waiting in turn and you've got deadlines to meet, and they're wasting their time by asking the same question over and over. Oh no, come on! I've got deadlines to meet. I need to get in there, and but it's can be quite frustrating.
Yeah, I bet. Is it now? Isn't that more of a job than it is a hobby? I bet when you first started, I bet it was really cool, but now it's kind of is it
It's
quite
can be quite stressful, especially if you're going to like I said the Barnsley one earlier, because when I go, I need both managers' quotes. So a lot of people are only coming for the home team or the away team, but I need both quotes, both sets of quotes, and so you don't always know where both managers are going to be, and sometimes they'll come out at the same time. And if you come out at the same time, you're like, well, you quickly got to listen to one, then rush over to the other one. And by the time you've rushed over, he's probably said all he needed to say. You've got the tail end of it. And he's too late to ask the questions because he's cleared off. But it can be quite stressful, especially on a night game because you've got a tighter deadline.
yeah.
You've got to listen to it all, translate it all back, make it into a proper story and send it off. So it can be. I've done quite a lot now. It's not quite so bad, but in years gone by, it'd be quite stressful. Yeah, because you've got deadlines to meet, and it's the thing with both managers come out at the same time. You're like, oh, please no, please no. But at Lincoln, it's all right because a mate of mine works there, so he can grab the Lincoln manager's quotes. I can just concentrate on the away manager. But other places, you don't get that. You don't get the help. So it can be quite stressful. Yeah, yeah.
So what? So when you watch a game now, are you? I bet you. Are you good to watch it at home with then? Because I bet you. Are you analysing everything? Are you kind of looking at it through a journalist point of view now, every game? Or
Yeah, so you sort of do it. Yeah, I mean, watching I mean, watching Lincoln games is obviously different when you're a supporter as to a reporter because you're trying to look at certain things as a reporter and note it down. You're not there as a fan, and you still get that little bit. Oh, what's he done that for? And you got to sort of rein it in a bit, and you're just trying to be a bit more analytical as you watch it. But yeah, you do notice a difference, and it's funny as well because if you report on a game involving two teams you're not interested in, you can watch it far easier than if you just like turn the telly on and I don't know, Doncaster are playing Gillingham. You think, I'm not interested in this, I'll turn it off. But if you're at the actual game reporting on it, you take a lot more interest. So it's better from that perspective to watch a neutral game if you're a reporter because you take a lot more interest in it, as opposed to not being a fan of either team. I'm not bothered, but you have to be bothered because you got to know what's going on.
Yeah. So what's your next game you're going to?
Lincoln Huddersfield.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that if you're going to go, Dom.
Then it'll be Lincoln Bolton after that. Yeah.
So you're just predominantly doing Lincoln because of the area, are you?
Yeah, because you used to get paid mileage for travelling, and you don't get paid that now. So,
Really?
Yeah. I mean, in the past, I'd go to like Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday, Derby, Forest, Rotherham, Middlesbrough, Donny, York, Scunny, Mansfield, another one, Notts County. But now I tend to, because it's the cost of fuel and stuff like that, it's not worth your while doing it. So Lincoln's 10 minutes down the road. So I used to do Forest a lot, but because they're Premier League, we have certain reporters that sign to certain clubs. So it's like basically you can do anything from Championship down. And obviously they got promoted, so that's one out the window. But because of the travelling and the expense, you just think, I'll just do Lincoln. It's easy that way.
Cool.
And some games as well, like Sheffield United, for instance, it's a nightmare to park because sometimes you don't get parking at the ground. So in Sheffield United, it's all street parking. So you have to park a mile away and then try and remember where you've parked afterwards, like at 11 o'clock at night. Sheffield Wednesday, you get a designated parking space in some area, yeah. So Donny, you park outside the ground, and Lincoln, you get a parking space, But if you go to an unfamiliar like Mansfield, it's another one where Field Mill is. Behind one of the stands is like a little shopping place, like industrial.
Yeah.
There's a few shops, and it's one of the places where you're not sure whether to park there or not because of whether you're going to get fined. So that's always, and then you park there, think, I'll risk it. Then you spend the whole bloody game fretting. You're going to go back to your car. There's going to be a parking ticket on for 150 quid or something. But
Chesterfield's similar, isn't there? Because it's built down the Tesco, isn't it? Chesterfield.
I've been to the old one. I've not been to the new one yet.
Yeah, it's built next to a Tesco. We had to park down an industrial estate, didn't we?
At Scunthorpe, they always say on there, if you look in the Tesco's opposite, they always say no football parking.
Yeah.
No football parking.
I bet they do.
But it's like,
but then you buy something, you go in and buy something, make sure you buy a bag and leave it on your chair and make it visible in your car. So I've been there, I've been shopping there. So
it's like Barnsley as well, isn't it? Because that's near that Metrodome.
Barnsley's, street park. But I always get, if you go to Barnsley, you normally get a pass to park in the car park there.
I was going to take Josh to go, and I looked at the Metrodome and I thought I might be able to sneak into the Metrodome, do a bit of bowling, then leave the car there, then go to the football. That's how I planned it. But
Barnsley's funny because it's like the end of the. If you go into Barnsley, you turn off and it's down the grounds down the end of like a little narrow, like a bit like Sinsel Bank. The grounds at the end of the road. There's all these terrace houses and there's a massive football ground at the end of and it's a nightmare to park. If you haven't got a parking spot in the car park, it's a nightmare to park because it's all street parking. And if you don't know the area, you just don't know where to park.
Right. Well, thank you for that. I think that's probably, we've quizzed you enough, I think, Dom. It's past 10.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else they want to talk about before we go?
Andy?
No, I'm all right, mate.
Come on, Andrew. Are you going to say it this week?
No, I'm never saying it. You can say it. You're leading this.
Darren, are you going to say it?
Doing the shit.
Chris, just to say, who do you reckon is going to win the FA Cup games on the weekend?
Don't even know who's playing. I don't actually know who's playing, Dom, if I'm completely honest with you.
Fulham against Palace. Against Man City.
I know Liverpool aren't going to win.
No.
Okay.
Forest, mate. Forest got a good chance, haven't they?
Yeah.
I hope Man City lose. I hope another team go through. I hope it's a team that we don't normally see win it.
Fulham
Reel them off, Dom. Who is it, Dom? Reel them off.
Fulham are playing Palace.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, Man City, Brighton against Forest, and Preston against Aston Villa.
I would like to see Bournemouth.
Oh yeah, Villa maybe. Villa.
I like Bournemouth. I like Clive.
Yeah, of course you do. You would
Yeah.
like Clive. Yeah.
Foreign player, Clive.
Yeah.
Cool.
You didn't say. Was it Adam Smith, the left back? You said Clive, didn't you?
No. Who cares about that?
They've got that player, haven't they? He made his debut for Spain, didn't he? Is it Huysen? Is it Spain he played for?
Is he Spanish, is it?
Yeah, I think he. Did he make his debut for Spain?
I don't know.
I might be wrong. I might have made that up completely.
Well, Billy's a good player for Bournemouth.
We should have Dom on every week to fact check my bullshit.
He's played 2 games for Spain, yeah.
Look. That look. Got a £50 million. Got £50 million
you should know better than
at the end of the season.
But he was a Dutch international under 17, 18 and 19, so he's obviously swapped allegiances.
Yeah.
Look at Daz writing it down.
Fucking turncoat.
He's got a £50 million release clause in the summer. Apparently, a lot of people are going to be in for him.
I was scribbling.
That's like under his mind right now, I think.
It's after 10 o'clock, so I'm yeah.
He's thinking of slippers and dressing. Well, no, not slippers and dressing gown, just bed, pillow.
You're not a night owl, are you, mate?
Nah.
Bless him. 46. He's past it now.
Like, subscribe, leave a message.
Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on TikTok. Watch Daz's fall. Watch my piece of skill against my brother, and hear Dom
all the shit you gave me about that, and there was not one mention about my Meg's assist. And Meg Keefe assisted your goal.
Sorry, mate. It's just
No, I'm not having it.
You couldn't go viral for 2 things, unfortunately.
Not having it.
I'm going viral for that pre-assist, that darting run that basically sent Buster the wrong way. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
subscribe, follow us on socials. Thanks, Dom. We really appreciate you coming on, mate. We'll get you on again. Really interesting. And we will speak again soon.
Good night, lads.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers, boys.